AITA for telling my daughter she needs to get over me grounding her as a teenager? When my daughter, now 26F, was 17, I left her home alone for a week while I was on a business trip. While I was away, she threw a party behind my back which ended with her and her drunk, underage friends trashing a significant part of the house inside and out. All told, they did a few $1,000s in damage, including 2 broken TVs and damage to the car. The place looked like a war zone, or the aftermath of a bad teen movie. So, I told her she would have to pay me back, and that she was grounded until she did. No electronics outside of schoolwork, strict curfew, no friends over, and absolutely no more parties. And she had to get a part-time job to start paying off her mistake. I wanted to teach her to take responsibility for what she'd done. And that meant no exceptions to the rule. It isolated her from her friends, I admit, but that was the consequence. She hadn't paid me back by the time prom came around. She tried to persuade me to let her go, but I was firm. She was basically grounded right up until she moved out. The thing is, she's basically resented me ever since. It feels like we haven't had a single pleasant conversation in 9 damn years. She refused her college fund because she didn't want anything from me. She chose not to go to college at all. She went full-time at her job after HS. And even now it feels like every other conversation we have is her complaining about her senior year and how unfair I was. I've tried getting her to understand it was her own consequence, that I did it because I love her, the works, but she's still convinced it was all just me being awful. What's really brought things to a head is that recently her and her boyfriend had their first child. I've offered to help with anything they need, but I've been rebuffed at every turn. And when I asked if they were sure, my daughter blew up on me. Apparently I'm not allowed to see my own granddaughter until I accept that how I treated my daughter is wrong, and apologize for grounding her and forcing her to miss prom. My own kid told me that until I did that, she didn't trust me to look after or even be around her child in case I treat them the same way. I told her that was enough. That of course I'd never be cruel to a baby or young child. That the punishment she earned was appropriate. And that she needed to accept she ruined her own damn senior year by being immature and doing things behind my back. In response, I got a long text from her and another from her boyfriend about how I'm an asshole and apparently I haven't changed, and how I'll never be in their kid's life now. I've been talking about it with some close friends since, and while some of them are on my side, others have said I was too harsh on my kid at the time and that she's allowed to be upset. I've also had angry messages from some other family members about it, as well as some of support. It seems everyone's picking sides now. So, AITA? She hadn't paid me back by the time prom came around. She tried to persuade me to let her go, but I was firm. She was basically grounded right up until she moved out. Info. Really, this is me just being curious. Was it actually possible for her to pay off the bill before prom? As in, between school and responsibilities and her part-time job? This feels like we're missing reasons. I have a hard time accepting that for nearly 10 years every problem in your relationship stemmed from a high school grounding. 9 years later and she's still pissed off? That makes me wonder if there is missing reasons here. She turned down going to college so she wouldn't have to be financially dependent on you. She hasn't accepted any help for the baby from you. That's not really something done lightly. Was she working and trying to pay off the money when you stopped her going? Ultimately, this post is about accepting consequences. You did what you did and this is the consequence. You don't have a right to be in your daughter or your granddaughter's life. Info. Was she actively paying you back but just didn't have the ability to do so in full by the time prom came around? Info. How old was she when she moved out? Other than her incredible lack of judgment with that one party, was she previously disrespectful? I'm thinking she must have been a pretty good kid, or you would have been a moron to leave her alone for a week. Obviously you were pissed at the destruction, but I think you took it too far. Emo. There should have been some middle ground. Cleaning the house top to bottom. A month of no electronics, strict curfew, and damages deducted from her college fund might have been more appropriate. Forcing her to miss prom, a once-in-a-lifetime event, seems extreme. TVs can be replaced and cars repaired, but you might have destroyed your relationship permanently. And sorry, but that is on you. It's a tough one, and I'm not sure that you meant badly. But I do have to go with YTA on this one. I think that some people are going to agree with you. But that's going to be the terminally online portion of this subreddit who think the question is, did I have the right to do this? Not, did doing this make me an asshole? Quote, while what she did was definitely bad, it's something that happens. Teens have parties, and things get out of control. And based on the way you talk about you going on a business trip and your daughter having a college fund, you did have the money to cover it. Making her pay it off is fine. Grounding her is fine. But making her pay off the full amount while fully grounding her and basically preventing her from having any fun whatsoever is kind of draconian. When a parent punishes a child, the point is to correct the behavior. Anything past that is excessive. And I think you could have easily made your point without making her live essentially like a prisoner for a very long time. Something like 2 months of grounding in addition to paying off the damages probably would have been sufficient. But the amount you did, it feels more vindictive than corrective. The fact that you're not acknowledging how she feels does make you the asshole. And the fact that you're more concerned about not admitting any fault than you are about trying to mend your relationship with your daughter makes you even more of one. Info. How long was it between when her punishment started and when prom happened? YTA. By your own admission, you gave her an impossible goal to meet. You didn't punish her. You retaliated against her. The difference is that a punishment is meant to teach a lesson. Retaliation is vengeance. You sought vengeance against your own child by giving her false hope, demoralizing her, hurting her, and eventually, you did so much you caused her to resent you. So much so that she's still angry years later. It sounds like this is a trend with you. Resentment is a step away from hating you. Be aware of that. Honestly, I was all set to defend you until I saw your comment that she wouldn't have been able to pay you back before prom, and I'm wondering how long you knew that. Was that something that didn't become obvious until prom? Or did you know that for a while? Either way, taking away such a big milestone without trying to come up with some kind of compromise wasn't okay. I also saw in a comment that she wasn't allowed to do anything fun until she'd paid you back. Making her get a job to pay you back. Fine. No parties or friends over. Fine. Not doing anything fun and no prom. Absolutely over the top. You took away her social life and her biggest milestone to date. Though being this angry well into her 20s is a bit over the top too. But also, you left a teenager home alone for a week. That doesn't excuse her and her friends trashing the house. But I hope you don't think you're totally innocent in what happened as a result of leaving her alone. You made a lot of poor parenting choices her senior year, which led to her building up a lot of resentment. Keeping you away from your grandchild is a little extra, but you have to understand that you set her up for a miserable year and don't even seem to care. Esh. I'm guessing there is way more than just this one incident that damaged your relationship with your daughter. The way you describe it sounds like how my mother tries to explain why none of her kids have a relationship with her anymore. How was she making money? As a part-time student? So she was probably making minimum wage. Yeah? And she was to be grounded until she paid back everything? Thousands of dollars worth? Plus, she'd be grounded until it was paid off? I get paying you back and teaching her a lesson. But the length of the grounding seems a little excessive. An entire school year, and then some? You basically made her a social outcast. And didn't let her enjoy one of the biggest, for her at the time, and most important moments in her life? I don't know any kid her age that wouldn't have done the same. Or wanted to do the same. By moving out and cutting you off. Is it right that she's still upset? Who knows? Did you help her develop the proper coping skills to deal with what she went through? Or did you tell her to basically suck it up and get over it? Probably not, since she gave up schooling that would be paid for and would have given her a leg up on life. She took the hard road so as not to have to deal with you. You obviously affected her more than you think. No. YTA. Sorry. Edited some spelling. YTA. I say this as a mother of teens, 20-somethings. If she needed this level of punishment at 17, you screwed up long before. Or you were always way too unforgiving, and as a result she's legitimately concerned for her child. Completely isolating a teen from their social support system. Making them miss a huge milestone they can never get back. A goal of payback that she couldn't possibly meet without dropping out of school is way too much. Grounding for a month. Cleaning everything up. Paying back within 12 months. Sure. Actions have consequences, and sometimes people don't like the consequences. I wanted to teach her to take responsibility for what she'd done. And that meant no exceptions to the rule. It isolated her from her friends. I admit, but that was the consequence. And now it seems you are isolated from your grandchild. No exceptions. Ironic. Huh? Well. If it isn't the consequences of your own actions. You left your daughter to her own devices for a week and punished her for a long time very harshly. When she couldn't handle the responsibility. Now she punishes you for a long time. Very harshly because you couldn't handle the responsibility of being a good parent. She destroyed your living room. You doubled down and destroyed her last year in high school. Now she doubles down and destroys your years as a grandparent. What did you expect? You certainly taught her not to let go of one's grudges. She learned from the best, didn't she? YTA. There are consequences and there is going nuclear. Guess what you chose? You admit you isolated her from her support system. Of course she resents you. You admit you ruined her senior year by enforcing no outside activities. You admit that she had no prom or social life. But consequences. You say. And you are correct. Now face the consequences of your own actions. Doesn't feel so good, does it, when the consequences imposed so far outweigh the infraction that it creates lifelong resentment. But you know. Just get over never being allowed to see your granddaughter. You keep talking about actions having consequences, but refuse to accept the consequences of your own actions. It's clear that, despite what you think, your daughter is quite capable of succeeding without you, and your continued belief that she's immature and incapable is what's feeding her dislike of you. YTA. Making her pay for the damage would be a fair consequence. Taking away literally everything until it's paid for is not fair. And it's not how the world works. When you have a debt to pay, you don't become a prisoner until it's paid off. You get to continue living your life, but also make payments until it's done. YTA. Okay, she screwed up. She royally screwed up and left you with a lot of damage. I agree with her having to get a job to pay you back the damages in full and the initial grounding. But, and here's where the verdict comes in. You made it impossible for her to make it right in time for prom. You went way overboard with your punishment and effectively made it a retaliation rather than justified punishment. She had made the right moves in making good on repayments, and I think the least you could have done was lift the punishment for prom, as that is not something she could get back once missed out on. Going to extreme measures like that ruined her senior year and those senior experiences she can never get back. She left home the first chance she could and has been telling you for years that this draconian punishment hurt her. It was in no way appropriate for you to carry it on for so long. And it is not okay for you to tell her it was an appropriate response when both you and her know it was excessive at best. You alone damaged your relationship with your daughter. The 9 years of resentment and distance are the appropriate response of someone who was hurt and had their trust broken by a parent. You now have to live with the consequences of your actions back then. You also are the only one who can make this right. Reflecting on and owning up to the mistakes you made are the first step in rebuilding trust with her. You seem unwilling to do that, but just know it is the only way you can make this right. I'm a pretty strict parent compared to other parents I've met. However, I would have bent a little on the prom thing because it was a major milestone in your daughter's life and she was actively working to pay you back. By trying to teach your daughter a lesson, you taught her to hate you.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic AITA is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.